All right. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining once again. My name is Andrew Iwamasa, and I'm with Collectors Corner Incorporated right here in Midland, Michigan. And thank you for joining this special event that we've got going on. Tonight, our very special guest is Sierra Dall, and she was Colin Cantwell's partner for 24 years. And Colin, if you're here, knows you know that he was integral in part of designing for the spaceships for A New Hope, as well as 2001, Close Encounters, and so much more. But I'd like to send a very, very thankful hello to Sierra. I appreciate you spending time to join us.
Oh, and totally appreciate you inviting me here. This is great. And I'm gonna start a scroll here, screen share, just so while we're talking, that you can see some of the things that Colin has done. So just a second here,
Excellent.
go back and forth. Let
Yeah,
me know,
absolutely.
let me know when you can see it. Hang on here.
Looks like it's loading up right now. Yep, there we go.
You see it?
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So this is some of Colin's work over the years. He was involved in more than just Star Wars. As you can see, he worked as a HAL 9000 computer. He sat behind Walter Cronkite telling him what to say on television while they were landing on the moon, first moon landing, worked for NASA on multiple different projects. He directed the first IMAX program out in California, uh, designed the ships for Star Wars, which is what everybody seems to know most about, and worked on Close Encounters with Spielberg and did cutting edge uh, projector for Buck Rogers, and then War Games. Actually, yeah, he's had quite a prolific history. And I was fortunate enough to be with him for 24 years, and I have some videos of his to show. If I can figure out how to get back to where I want to be. Stop sharing. Okay, here we go. So Colin, like I said, he did a lot of different projects, but some of the ones that we're looking at today, we're going to talk about the Imperial Cruiser. And when Colin started out the movie, he said to George, and George says he wanted something like the Imperial Cruiser, and it should be something dramatic. And Colin said to him, "Well, how big is it? Is it as big as Burbank?" And so George says, yeah, something like that. So we'll show a little bit about that so you can see what Colin had said and what he was thinking when he was creating the Imperial Cruiser. So hang on a second here, get this thing
Perfect.
going. Oops, I gotta turn this one off. So let's talk about some of the ways that. And again, let me know if you can see any of this. I'm gonna share the screen. Hopefully it works. Let me know if you can see in here. With ideas on how to design
Uh,
some
I
of your
can hear it, but
ships,
I can't
such
see
as
it
the
yet.
Imperial Cruiser. Okay. Let me try this again.
Technology is awesome.
See if we can
There you
yes.
go. It looks like it's, yep, we can see it now.
Cruiser. You hear it?
Yep.
That needed to have a real sense of scale, and that was going to like the background and what kind of scenes George would play in that. So I asked him, the Imperial Cruiser, how big is that? And what did he say? He said, well, it's really big and it's really powerful or something like that. And that left me uh, somewhat confused. So I asked him, well, how about, is it bigger than Burbank? And he said, yes, that's the answer. It's bigger than Burbank. Make it so. So what were you thinking at the time when you designed the Imperial Cruiser for those opening scenes?
Well, it has to be as absurd as the scroll that kept vanishing into the distance on the top of the screen. And it has to follow that and one up that. And the way I did that was to have it be fundamentally like a folded paper airplane. And the nose of the airplane would be coming into the screen, but it had to keep going absurdly and yet powerfully. And the way to do that was to have it like a paper airplane, perfectly triangular, with various detail on it disappearing as it got more and more distant, but more of it is always coming in over the top of the screen with extra detail, and that would keep going until a hatch in the top of the screen would show action of evil, but then it came to the end of the hatch and the whole hatch was disappearing also into the distance. And that was going to keep happening that way until the rumble of the giant motors was coming in from the back of the theater. And then the mighty engines of the rear of the ship would come in and get smaller as well. And that was using quite a bit of time and also as ridiculous as the rest of it, but it was all in timing and made to time beautifully so that it was always revealing new parts of it in a surprising way, and surprising in the sense of the movie.
Okay. So that was the beginning of the Imperial Cruiser. And I don't know if you noticed one of the pictures in the screen where they had all the radar paraphernalia sticking out. Do you know what that is? Anybody?
I do.
Okay. All right, Andrew, what is it?
The starship was was actually finally used in the Andor series as a tribute to him. And actually, I love the fact that they actually declared it as a Cantwell class starship, which is just fascinating, and love the tribute to that.
Well, it started out of the idea of being the Imperial Cruiser, as you saw, and then it evolved into the model that you saw, the Imperial Cruiser. But you're right, exactly. It ended up being the Cruiser Cantwell class. So, but unfortunately, Colin had passed away before he never saw that. It was too late, but he would have really enjoyed and taken total amusement that a ship was actually named after him. We were at ILM a number of years ago before they did that, and they were saying at that time, well, we should bring back some of these old ships that Colin designed. And so they did. That was one of them. Yeah.
Sure. And I love the fact that he was so integral that it wasn't just designing ships. Like he actually had the idea and the way that the ship would come across.
Exactly.
And it's so iconic that there have been homages in so many other shows or everything from animated to live action to whatever comedy. where they kind of mimic that, and it is iconic in the truest sense.
One thing that was kind of interesting, and I have to watch it again, I think it was in the Rogue movie. Yeah, one of the later ones. I believe at the end, they actually had a stream of Colin's ships across the top of it at the very end.
Oh, I
There's,
have to,
yes, some of the old designs that going by. And I'll have to look at it
oh,
again, but I'm pretty sure that's what I saw. So that
oh,
was really
that's
cool.
excellent. Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't know that one. I'll have to go back and check.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
have to look again, but as I remembered, I watched that and I thought, whoa, look at that. This is so cool. So,
absolutely.
so one of his main characters as far as ships go is the X-Wing. And I'm going to show you a clip here that was great fun. In Denver, Colorado, they actually have a 3/4 size X-Wing that they built that you can actually get into. And here's what Colin did with it. So let's take a look at that. Oh, what happened to my screen? Interesting. Hang on here.
Yep. While you're getting that ready, I can show this print is one that I actually got when Colin came to our store.
Wow.
If I could get my camera right. There we go. And
Mhm.
and this print, if I'm not mistaken, is available in the store still with his actual authentic signature, isn't it?
Well, we have an online store now. I got very fortunate. My last year has been total chaos and dealing with Colin's death. And then I had another partner who I had for a year and loved him, and he passed away a month ago. So I've had a lot to do in the last year. So the answer to that is I'm just getting back on track with Colin's prints, and we have an online store in which people can buy the prints. And if they put in the passcode or promo code corner, you can get a 15% discount on them. But one
Yep.
of the things that's really exciting is that the TSJ Foundation is taking on Colin's legacy as a project. And I went to a museum exhibit that they had, and I'll show this to you at the very end. It is so cool. But they had a museum exhibit for Colin, and they had all of his work on display, and including a hologram of the TIE fighter. But one of the goals that they have is they want to take his work and make museum exhibits out of it and use his various projects as an example for children or young people to get involved in STEAM programs, to show them if they got in STEAM, here's some of the things you might be able to do with your life. So they have these different robots, and then, like I said, showing Colin's work. So it's just, his legacy goes on, and I'm glad it does, because he was so prolific and he did so many extraordinarily creative projects on cutting edge. So I'm going to show you the clip here. Figure out what's coming up here. Hang on.
I believe it's the X-Wing one, right?
Right. Hang on one second here. I've got too many things going on at the same time. All right. So, well, this is at what is it? Not the Air and Space Museum in Denver, but it's at I can't think of the name of it. But anyhow, this is really cool.
Chris Lamb,
Tell me
owner of
if you can
Vision
hear it.
Comics and Oddities in Englewood, Colorado,
Can you hear it?
introduced us to our first comic book conventions. He then
Not yet.
helped us at a Star Wars event at the Wing.
Were you able to hear that?
I could hear it. I couldn't see it.
Can't see it. Oh dear. Okay. Interesting. All right, let's try this.
There we go. Looks like it's loading. Yeah.
No, we can hopefully see it and hear it both. Let me know if you can hear it.
Over the Rockies,
Yep.
Air and Space Museum in Denver,
Can you hear it?
Yep, sure can.
Okay, great.
Colorado. Once there, Colin made an effort to have meaningful conversations with some of the other folks at the show. He also introduced himself to R2-D2. The main attraction at the show, however, was a 2/3 life-size version of the X-Wing ship that Colin designed for the first Star Wars movie. They did an extraordinary job of recreating the details of every aspect of this ship. The wings, the cockpit, Even the thrusters in the back seemed real. You almost felt as if you could take off flying. In fact, Colin tried. Since he was the creator of the ship, it was only right that he should sign his work. And he was very honored that they asked him to do that.
Okay. I just thought that was really fun. So we're
Yeah,
gonna look
that
at,
was excellent.
yeah, we're gonna look at Colin's X-Wing. Hang on here. He created the X-Wing, and in this video, he's gonna be talking about what he did to create the X-Wing. So let me know if you can see this and hear it.
Yep,
Also,
can already see it.
the X-Wing was your first
Yep,
design.
perfect.
Yes,
Okay,
the X-Wing had some characteristics that were necessary. It has to have a lot of good guy characteristics.
so when it took off, did it take off as on a runway, or how did it take off?
It had to take off as if it were an aircraft. Meaning it had to get up to speed, had to gain altitude as it took off.
Did it have wheels on the bottom of it?
Yes, it had wheels on the bottom of it.
It did. I thought it was anti-gravity.
Well, that was one of the things that had to happen. George called and said about the wheels on the ship. When it takes off, I can't have those wheels. So it has to take off well, sort of by flying, getting up to speed, and then flying off. So I was happy to take the wheels off. I just broke them off and put on the appropriate gear for it being able to take off on the fly. It wasn't clear at all how it would get ready for battle. It had to be able to fly in formations, organize, had to maneuver to get out of danger, and it had to be extremely effective. And it had to be sort of like World War II.
So tell me about the wings when they open and when they close. What's the difference?
Okay, the difference is the wings were flat horizontal on the ground. And the wheels were below, and then they were replaced, and they sort of pseudo wheels were under the wings. What dawned on me was something momentary, sort of like a kite. I pictured that when it's going into battle, it had to kind of open like a kite. And it had to be powerful, survive battle, and it had to transform at the will of the pilot. So my first sketch of it was an X-like opening so that the ship in battle was always clearly that, and that was also then going to be the place where its weapons were. When it opened up, it would be like the cowboy drawing his guns, only this is no cowboys in this one. This one is all ships. So it had to open in an X shape, and the weapons had to be at the tips of the wings, and it had to be very maneuverable, very powerful, very fast, and also take great piloting skills to triumph against a superior enemy.
Okay.
That's awesome. So one question that I always have for um, people that are this creative, that can generate these ideas and images in their mind and then make them into reality. Like I can have all these images and pictures and ideas in my head, but for the life of me, I never be able to get them out into reality. Um, I mean, did he ever talk about how he picked items or what he used to build these models, or to one, because once he designs them, he has to make them into a reality. So, did he ever talk about anything like that?
Well, he did. Have you ever heard of kit bashing?
I've heard the word before.
Okay, well, Colin was the grandfather of kit bashing. He was the one that started that concept. And that's how he built the models. He took pieces out of all different kinds of ships, planes, trains, cars, and whatever. And actually, in our basement, we had about a 3x3 square stand, excuse me, that had all these different ships and all these different pieces from models, little tiny drawers about that long and that wide and that tall. And they were all on this, sides, four sides, and it was on a turntable, so you could turn it around. And each of the drawers had one kind of piece from one kind of a ship. And then that's how he built the models. He took all these different pieces from all these different types of models that he tore apart, and then he would build the model himself that eventually he showed to George Lucas, which is one of the reasons he got hired for the film, because George took a look at his really extraordinary kit bash model and said, hey, he's worked on 2001 Space Odyssey, and he worked with Walter Cronkite on the moon landing, and so let's see what this guy has to offer. But that's
That's amazing.
yeah. No,
Amazing.
yeah, it was yeah, and we had that in our basement for a number of years before I ever knew what they were. He never talked about Star Wars for the first 16 years of us being together.
Oh,
Not at all.
wow.
No, he didn't. I wasn't with him for his fame. I was with him because of Colin and who he was. And so he didn't want to talk about Star Wars. He was he worked with Frank Lloyd Wright. He wanted to become an architect, and he talked about that, but not Star Wars. So
Interesting. Well,
yeah,
I'm glad that you were able to entice them to do these interviews and tell these stories, because this is stuff that honestly you never hear. You never see these stories or hear these stories. And I think for me as a fan growing up in the 70s and 80s and seeing these in the movie theaters, and then hearing this kind of insight into it all, is just over the moon fascinating for me.
well, yes, he was a very interesting guy, and his personality was, if you could see the look on his face, he had a wry sense of humor. He just got a kick out of so many things, just even, well, okay, so I just tore the wheels off. Yeah, that's who Colin was. He had this sense of humor. He was an interesting guy to be with with for 24 years. So I'm
Nice.
gonna show this clip right now about the TSJ Foundation because it's really exciting what they're doing. And again, if any of you decide you want to buy some of these prints, they're 15% off if you use the promo code CORNER. So we'll run this, but if you want to see what this organization's been up to, it's really extraordinary work and very, very professional work. So let me bring that up.
Perfect. And a portion of the proceeds are going to be going to that foundation, right?
They are, yes. I decided that I wanted to help promote that. And so I've decided to donate part of what we make out of this to that for foundation, because I think the STEAM programs for youth are very important, and getting into technology and science is extremely important. So wanted to help make that happen and also to support Colin's legacy.
Oh, I
So
think it's a perfect match.
I do too. And all the different things that he got involved in represent all these different parts of the STEAM, the science, the energy, engineering, the arts, the technology, all of that. You know, he was involved in each phase of that. So I'm gonna turn this on. Let me know if you can see and hear it. Not quite there yet. Can you see and hear it yet?
Not yet. Nope.
Okay. So it's,
I'm Sierra Dall, Colin Cantwell's partner of 24 years.
Loading now. You're good.
what's that?
Yep, you're good.
Okay.
There's exciting news for Colin's legacy. Eric Jacobs of the TSJ Foundation contacted me and told me that he wanted to create traveling museum exhibits featuring Colin's work. The purpose is to encourage youth to become interested in STEAM, that's science and technology, engineering, art, and math. Then he invited me to see what they were doing at a Star Wars celebration at the COSI Museum in Columbus, Ohio.
I think we lost audio on it.
In addition to the entertainment, they
Oh,
I'm sorry.
there it goes.
Who's that?
Nope. Nope. It's back now. The audio went out for a minute.
Okay, it might be the internet connection.
Okay.
All righty.
had multiple posters and displays featuring various aspects of Colin's projects. This includes Star Wars, NASA, and many others. They also created a hologram of the TIE fighter. One of the main attractions, it was an almost life-size model of the TIE fighter cockpit. There were also robots roaming the floor to show young people that they too could create some of these projects if they got involved with STEAM. Carrying device in your hands. That's a making for.
Yes, I want to hear him.
Since Colin had such a diverse range of expertise, Eric explained to me that their future plans were to build out museum displays and conduct classes with each of Colin's projects, highlighting various aspects of either science, technology, engineering, art, or math. You can help support the TSJ Foundation and Colin's legacy. By purchasing any of Colin's remaining prints, we will donate 1% to the TSJ Foundation in Colin's memory. Colin would have been so proud that his body of work was being featured to further programs for youth.
Okay. So that's the TSJ Foundation, and it's I'm excited. I'm excited about it. So does
Yeah.
anybody have any questions for me about Colin's work? Just dive right in.
Yep. Just go ahead and unmute if you have any questions, and you can ask her directly.
Okay, I guess not. All right.
Well, I know that there are a lot of more things, more videos you have, more stories that can be told, and more information that we can go over. So hopefully, sometime later, we might be able to meet up again and do this with some more stories and hear some more behind the scenes. If that works out, I'd love to be able to have a chance to chat with you more.
Oh, that'd be great. Yes, I'd love to do that. I do. I have a lot of videos of Colin's work. He had dementia, and I realized that. So before it got too far along, I sat down with him and made videos on practically every one of his projects. So yes, including 2001 Space Odyssey, Walter Cronkite. He created the first IMAX theater, so I have videos about that and all the rest of his projects. So
That's amazing, and I know that people will love to hear that because I know I can't be alone in the idea behind hearing these stories, and it's like I said, just fascinating and exciting, and being able to get kind of this information out, I think is just you're allowing us an insight into something that we would otherwise not have. So thank you so very much for that.
no, you're welcome. And after 24 years, we had a lot of conversations, and I know a lot of things that a lot of people never heard about before. So yes.
Absolutely. Well, I do want to remind everyone, like she said, the store, if you go to the link that actually got you to register here, you can go to the shop, see all the prints that are still available. There are some that are hand signed, some are that are hand stamped, right, with his name.
We have a gold seal that we've had, but we still have quite a few signed prints. Yes.
Perfect. And yeah, once those are gone, obviously no more can be made. So those are very limited edition and would make a perfect gift for any Star Wars fan in your life for the holidays coming up. And if you use the code CORNER when you use make your purchase, you get 15% off. And they are 18 by 12 inches. And so they're perfect for framing and are absolutely stunning pieces. I highly recommend them. I think we wound up getting 6 or 7, I think, from you guys when he came to do the signing back a few years ago.
2 different sizes. There's smaller ones that are 8 by 12. And then there's also 12 by 18. And the model photos are 8 by 10, some of them, or 12 by 18. But you're right, there's some of them are very short supply. There are very few left. And other ones have a little bit more, but there's some that they're going. So
Absolutely.
they're gone.
Yep. So yeah, get a piece of history right here is what this truly is, and it goes beyond Star Wars, but obviously this key feature is for that. But again, we'll hopefully be able to talk with you in the future, Sierra. Thank you so much. Good luck with all of the foundation and working with them. I will be very excited to see what and where that all goes because I agree with you 100%. The youth, that's our future. So I love that you're tying his legacy to that.
Yes, for sure. Thanks so much, Andrew. It was great having you, and thanks everybody for coming.
All right, thank you. Have a wonderful
See you all next
holiday.
week.